What if I told you there is a Texas Hill Country town with scenic views, top-rated schools, and an amazing location, but almost nobody is buying there? Either that is one of the biggest red flags in the history of red flags, or it's the most underrated investment opportunity right now in the Texas Hill Country. Today we're going to talk about Johnson City, Texas. It's located between Fredericksburg and Austin, and by all metrics, it should be an absolute hotbed for growth right now. It checks nearly every box from an investment standpoint. Peaceful living, prime for a boutique, short-term rental opportunities, but still, oddly, it's remaining relatively quiet. So today we're going to jump into Johnson City, and by all metrics, it should be an absolute hotbed for growth right now. It checks nearly every box. There's great investment potential, there's peaceful living, great small town atmosphere, the possibility of launching a small business, maybe a boutique, short-term rental type things, but it remains oddly quiet. So I'm going to tell you why I think it's remaining quiet, and I'm going to leave it up to you. You might see this as, again, a giant red flag, avoid at all costs, or you could potentially see this video as your opportunity to move into a gold mine. So meet Johnson City. Johnson City is nestled right on Highway 290, about an hour west of Austin, 25 minutes from Fredericksburg. It is literally the beginning of the Texas wine trail. You've got small town charm, rolling oak-covered hills, access to major day trip traffic coming out of both Austin and San Antonio, but still, when you look at the hype map, Johnson City barely shows up. So let's talk about why should Johnson City be booming. Okay, location, check. Absolutely perfect. Scenic land, check. Beautiful, beautiful properties. Available land with minimal restrictions, check. You can still find 5, 10, 20 acres, even bigger tracts of land, but it's becoming increasingly rare near Austin, or for that matter, near San Antonio. So from a value standpoint, let's compare. Take a 1-acre lot in Dripping Springs. You might pay $350,000 to $400,000 just for the dirt. In Johnson City, you might be able to get 5 to 10 acres and views for that same money. At this point, Fredericksburg's fully saturated. It's got short-term rental caps, tourism pressures. You've got a ton of stuff going on in Fredericksburg. Wimberley, of course, it's got Instagrammable charm, but there's not much privacy and you don't have a lot of freedom to build. If you're looking for land in Wimberley, you're going to be getting outside the city a little bit. But Johnson City, it's wide open. Case in point, I had a buyer recently, about a year and a half, almost 2 years ago now. We're going to call him Buyer A. He bought about 7 acres off of a county road for $300,000. This year, that same land is approaching $400,000. He's not doing anything yet. He's not going to build on it yet. He's just holding it. And he's seen that kind of appreciation, $100,000, in a little over a year and a half. And why did he buy it? I mean, why is there a buyer looking at a piece of property that I've got listed right now for about $4 million? That's 87 acres and they're not going to do anything with it? Because they see the opportunity coming. They know that it's a little bit of a slow spot right now in that entire hill country booming area. And it's the next thing that's got affordable land. They're prepping now for what's coming in the future. The big question is, if you're thinking about moving, is Johnson City right for you? So who is it right for? First of all, it's right if you're an investor who wants to be in before appreciation maxes out. Second, it could be perfect for retirees who want peace and beauty without all of the tourist traffic. Now, don't get me wrong, there's tourist traffic, but it's largely relegated to weekends and it's largely in the downtown area and on 281 and 290. It could be right for entrepreneurs with boutique lodging or vineyard dreams. Again, this is the beginning of the Texas wine trail, and that thing's showing no signs of slowing down anytime soon. The other buyer that could be perfect for Johnson City is a family that's building forever homes away from the city sprawl. Somebody who may be approaching their 50s or 60s and they want the place that their family's going to come to for generations. It could be absolutely perfect for that based on the location. You've got 2 airports within about an hour and a half, so family would have no problem getting there, and there's going to be tons of stuff to do there from now looking well into the future. So why is it so quiet still? Is that a huge red flag for you? Well, first of all, it doesn't have a flashy downtown like Fredericksburg or even Wimberley for that matter. It's still a little bit of a quieter hill country town. Think about it more like Blanco. You've got the square, you've got some restaurants and breweries and boutiques around the square, but again, largely on weekends. I mentioned that tourist traffic kind of goes right through and stays on 281 and 290, and that's really the case. Now, the city's trying to boost their tourism and trying to get people to stop, but for the most part, people are still driving right through, going out to the wineries and going out to Fredericksburg. And the second thing is, there's not a Costco, there's not a Target, heck, there's not even an H-E-B. It's got a Lowe's grocery store, which is the Hill Country grocery store, so it's got everything you need, but a lot of buyers pass it by because they don't see the familiar names that they want to see when they go there, and they're like, no, I'm not going to live here. It's way too small town Texas for me. And the other thing, let's be honest, in this day and time, there's no viral TikTok spots or Instagrammable things, stuff like that, like you've got in a lot of the other hill country towns. So a lot of the younger crowd's just passing it by also. But again, that may be the exact reason for the opportunity, and it is the reason that I'm telling you to take a second look at it. But there are obviously things to watch out for. Look, this isn't a no-risk play. There are issues there, and they could become issues further in the future. First of all, the mayor and the city council, they're not really big fans of big development, so they could stifle growth in the near future. I don't know how long they'll be able to have that stranglehold on it, but I can tell you from experience right now, they are not wanting to see Johnson City grow very much. Second red flag to watch out for is water availability and well depth. Okay, depending on what part of Johnson City you're in, and it really can vary, from a mile away, well depth can get really, really deep. Water availability can be an issue, so that's something else you got to watch out for. And the next one is kind of a hit or miss, all right? There's really not a lot of zoning, especially outside of the city. So the good thing is nobody's controlling what you're doing, but the bad thing is nobody's controlling what your neighbors are doing either. So keep an eye out for that. The next issue is, and I know because I used to be a teacher and I know teachers and I know the reputation of the school within school districts, all right? But if you go to national websites and look at the school district, it may not look great on paper, okay? I encourage you, if you've got concerns about the school district, go pay them a visit and walk through and meet with the teachers and meet with kids and meet with administrators. It will probably put those concerns to rest, but at the end of the day, it is a smaller school district and it's a small town school district, so there's going to be those types of issues that pop up there. And another thing to watch out for, and this kind of goes back to the city not really wanting to make development happen or allow development to happen. When you do that, you risk developers doing their own thing outside of the city limits and not asking for city input. So there's not really a future land use map, and you don't know if you're not as a part of a development that has deed restrictions, you could end up next to something like a warehouse or something like that in the future. So because that growth is slow and because there's not really a plan for growth, you might have issues with future neighbors. So let's talk about some buyer tips that I've got for you. If you're looking at Johnson City, okay, first of all, find a local agent, somebody who understands the area. That goes without saying. If it's not me, at least find good representation and somebody that knows what they're doing out there. I would really advise against finding an Austin agent and asking them to look in Johnson City for you. There, I said it. Nothing against Austin agents. They just don't have the familiarity with that area, and that can get you in trouble. But there's also some questions that you should be asking. The first one, is that land unrestricted or are there deed restrictions on there? And again, that can go both ways. Maybe you want unrestricted land and you're not worried about what your neighbors do, but at the same time, maybe you would like some light restrictions to make sure that they can't put in a hog farm next door. That's a question you've got to ask up front. Second question, and especially if you're buying a larger piece of land, is there an ag or a wildlife exemption in place? If it is, it can save you big time on taxes. And if it's not, that doesn't mean you can't get one in the future, but it's going to be a minimum of 5 years before you can get one in place. So it's really important to know that up front. And if you're buying a bigger piece of land, it's got to be one of the first questions you ask. If you're looking in more remote parts outside of Johnson City, find out, is there water available from a municipal system and where's the closest power? Just because there's a power line on the front of the property doesn't mean you can tap into that. Some of the power lines out there are high voltage and you've got to pull power in from a lower voltage system. Make sure you know where your power is going to come from, and that's easy. Just call it's Pedernales Electric Co-op, PEC, they're the power provider, the electricity provider out there. Just call them and find out. It's a really simple phone call, but it could save you a lot of money in the long term. And then the next thing is find out about that road. Is it a county-maintained road or is it an easement within a subdivision and all the owners have to go in and maintain it together? If it's a county-maintained road and it's in bad shape, okay, you've got people you can call. But if it's a privately maintained road by the neighbors and it's in bad shape, that might give you an indication that the people there don't really care if the road's in good shape. And I mean, I don't know, maybe you drive a McLaren or something like that and you're not in a Jeep, and potholes can be really, really expensive. So find out who's maintaining that road. And at the end of the day, if you're the kind of buyer who doesn't chase trends, but you actually want to spot the next move before it happens, remember, Johnson City's not booming yet. Smart buyers don't wait for boom headlines. They look for fundamentals before everybody else even realizes they're there.